The main character, she has her quirks, her personality, her personal struggles, her mission, her hallucinations. I mean, how much of this is based in fact, I really don't know. Hi and welcome to my channel. In this episode, I will be discussing / reviewing a film called The Lost King, which I saw this evening at the cinema. So my idea is to speak about a film while it's still fresh. This film was suggested to me, so I went along and probably looked like the best film at the cinema, the small cinema that I went to. Reason why is because it's set in the UK. It's also a historical film as well, not a period film, but it's a film that concerns history. So I usually find there's a little bit more that's going to take me out of my world and plunge me into something completely out of this world, but part of this world at the same time, which is why history is kind of really cool. I went into this film not knowing very much. However, the preview for the film really does a lot to give it away, or so I thought. However, it was during the film that I realized like most of what's in the preview you see in the first 20 to 30 minutes of the film. So I was like, okay, there's still more of an element of surprise to this film. The film is set in Edinburgh. The main character lives in Edinburgh. There's some lovely, whether they're drone or aerial shots of Edinburgh, of, you know, the castle, for example, on the hill there. There's just a few scenes there that are really quite lovely. But the historical part of the film does take place in Leicester.
But yeah, the film, it is about Richard III.
What I really liked about this film is that the idea of looking for the corpse of Richard III was seen, because this is over 500 years ago. He was like from the 15th century, 15th, 16th, like in between the two, I believe. He only lived 32 years old. But it's a long time ago, and who knows where he'd be under a developed city, right? The idea of finding this body that hasn't been found yet is, some would say, a little bit crazy, and there's a weak chance of it happening. And where this film's extremely craftful and powerful is in that they made the main character, she was perceived as crazy and also weak. She had a physical condition of fatigue that rendered her very weak. And she is talking to an apparition, which you'd say sounds crazy, and some characters in the film do. So her situation, her traits personify this quest, which is, you know, a fat chance of finding King Richard. And like all good films, she is a hero, and she follows her hunch and she follows her feeling, even though she's told she shouldn't, because it seems less confidence when you say I have a feeling, which was again a great comment about how society maybe doesn't value intuition and the holistic side or the feminine side, however you want to look at it. So there was another good point there about the film. But yes, against all odds, she finds the bones of Richard III.
Oh shit.
I think I might have just ruined the story, so I'm going to have to scratch that out because I don't want to ruin the story. Although, like, I think they tell you this part in the previews anyway because it's like a historical fact. So unless you don't know history, which is like recent history, the story is already known. It's a true story. That's people know what happened. Why we know is because she succeeded. So
Yeah, no, backtracking, I think I can just say that part.
In the film, it looks at, you know, how the big fish want to steal the bait from the little fish, even though maybe the little fish was the one that found the food. There's a part of life that larger interests will take over. Because if it's based on a true story, then certain institutions are cast in quite a negative light in this film. So I'd say maybe it's based on fact. Otherwise, the University of Leicester may have like a lawsuit, you know, defamation lawsuit. So, yeah, a fast-paced a fast-paced film, likable characters. The characters are again, there's no Hollywood glamour to these characters. They're real and relatable. Lovely setting. And yeah, there was a quote in the story that was quite nice, and it was about being unfairly judged and not being able to reach your full potential. At least 100 years after the death of Richard III, Shakespeare wrote a play about Richard III as a hunchback usurper who killed his nephews in order to succeed to the throne. As such, he was not recognised as a King of England. For whatever reason, this character has a connection to Richard III. I think in the opening scene, she's watching a Shakespeare play, and I don't know, we think she's going crazy, but for some reason she has this connection. She sees something in this Richard III. It's probably stronger than her, but she's got this life purpose that she's designed to do. And she believes that he was a lawful king, and apparently as such he's very mischaracterized. Apparently again, it was his successor who wanted to paint him in a negative light. So the press of the time blamed him for a range of things, but apparently historical facts show, if this film is accurate, is that he was a great man that sought about justice. Apparently it's because of King Richard III that we live in a world where you are innocent until proven guilty. I mean, imagine if you had to prove your innocence, you were just assumed to be guilty. That would be hard. It's nice that there's this trust in your fellow man, or that society has this trust in you that you're a good person, therefore you're innocent unless we can prove you're guilty. I think that's great. A great principle to have. So yeah, he did this. The lady who found his body managed to have the royal family acknowledge Richard III as a rightful King of England, whereas prior to that he wasn't. And this is within the last 5 years, apparently, that it was re-recorded. So that's really cool. Like, someone of our time managed to uncover the truth from 500 years ago. And the person I was watching it with explained that it got them thinking about, you know, just how much of history is a distortion, a version of the truth. You know, something in humanity, we see a bright light and we want to cast shadows on it, whether we're scared of the bright light or we feel inferior towards the bright light. So definitely a universal theme. I really thought it was extremely clever. The character was weak and timid and crazy. It just went so well with what her mission was. So, not the most memorable film or super powerful film that's like gripping or artistic, but it's fast paced, it moves, it's relatable. It captivated my attention, but it wasn't hard to having to hold on to this information or all these facts. I'm quite grateful that I have a little knowledge of Richard III now. I feel like for people who are living in Europe, the connection to Europe as a Westerner or a European, the connection to your history is there. It's among the streets that you're walking.
Yeah, definitely recommend this film.